Welcome to the When in Paris Crochet Fingerless Gloves tutorial, where I will guide you step by step on how to create your very own stylish fingerless gloves. To make your gloves, you're going to need a pair of scissors, a darning needle, both a 5mm and 4mm crochet hook, and some double knit weight yarn. I'm using Drops Charisma. Now these gloves come in two different sizes, small to medium and large to extra large. I'm going to be making the large size today. If you need to make a different size, then just check out the written pattern, which I will link in the description below. So I'm starting with the 5mm hook. I'm just going to use this just for the foundation chain because we're going to be working into the back bumps, and I find that the chain can be a little bit tight if you use the same hook. So we're going to pop a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to chain 29. Once you have your 29 chains, you're going to switch over to the 4mm hook. We'll be using this one from now on. Now you want to turn your chain over, and we're going to be working into the back bumps. I'm going to start off by putting a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, which is right here. And we're going to go ahead and put a single crochet into the next stitch, and in each stitch all the way across, for a total of 28 single crochet. We're going to chain 3 and turn. This counts as a double crochet. We're going to put another double crochet into that very first stitch, same stitch as chain 3, and chain 2, and then a single crochet also into that same stitch. Now we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, put a double crochet into that next stitch, and another double crochet as well, chain 2, and a single crochet all into that same stitch. And again, skip 2 stitches, 2 double crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet, and you're going to keep doing that all the way across. We're at our last 3 stitches here, so again we're going to skip 2, double crochet into that last stitch, another double crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. So we'll chain 3 for the start of the next row, turn our work. Now we're going to be working into the chain spaces from the previous row, so we're going to put a double crochet into that chain space, chain 2, and then a single crochet, 2 double crochet into the next chain space, chain 2, and a single crochet, and we're going to repeat this all the way across. If you might recognize this stitch as the Paris stitch, and if you know the Paris stitch, it usually has kind of wavy edges at the edges, but because we're going to be seaming those edges, we want those to be straight. So when you get to do the last chain space, we're going to put 2 double crochets in that space, chain 2, and instead of putting the single crochet into that space, we're going to put it into the top of the chain 3 from the previous row. Just going to pop that in there, and this will ensure that you get nice straight edges. So we're going to chain 3, and we're just going to start the row again. It's just an easy 1 row repeat. It's an easy 1 row repeat from now on. So we'll put double crochet into that first space, chain 2, single crochet, 2 double crochet into the next space, chain 2, and a single crochet. And we're going to repeat this all the way across, remembering to put that last single crochet into the top of that chain 3. And you're going to repeat the Paris stitch for a total of 16 rows. So don't count this first row of single crochet, just put 16 rows of the Paris stitch. So I've worked my 16 rows in the Paris stitch. I did forget to mention at the beginning that you need to leave your tail long enough to sew your seams. So I'm just going to fasten off now, leaving quite a long tail. Okay, so we're going to want to fold our piece in half with the right side, which is this side, on the inside. And then you're going to need to leave a gap. You're going to seam each end with your tail going up towards the middle, and you want to leave a gap for the thumb for this large size, roughly 7 centimeters, which is about 2 3/4 inches. You want to leave a gap about that size. So how far down your gloves you want your thumb to be is a bit down to personal preference. I had my thumb slightly closer to the wrist here because I wanted to have more coverage at the top of my fingers. If you would like to have a bit more coverage around the wrist, you can put it more in the center. Okay, so you simply thread your tail onto a darning needle, and then I just use a whip stitch to join them together. Now you can pin this out before if you want, if you're worried about not being able to sew the seams evenly. I always just wing it. If it was something a bit bigger, I probably would pin it, but it's not too bad. That's far enough for that end. Just put it through itself to make a knot, and then weave that in. And you're going to do exactly the same with the other end. There we go. So you can go ahead and turn it back the right way around now. And it's a good idea just to try it on, see how it fits. Now, if you wanted to, I guess you could leave it like this, but I'm going to add a cuff and a little bit of detail around the thumb. Okay, let's start with the thumb. We're going to join with the slip stitch just around about where this seam is. I'm just tucking my tail inside. I'm going to try and work over that as I go. Now we want to single crochet evenly around the thumb opening. I'm putting 11 stitches on each side. So we're going in here with a single crochet. And just count as you're going around for a total of 11. So the first slip stitch, you will count that as a stitch. So once you've got your 11 single crochet on that side, then continue onto the other side of the thumb. Okay, so I've worked all the way around. I'm not going to join because we're going to work in a spiral now. So here we've got our first slip stitch. What I'm going to do next is, for this round, we're going to be working into the back loops only. And for the first stitch, I'm going to single crochet 2 together. So it's going to be into slip stitch from the beginning, so into the back loop. This can be a bit tricky to get into the back loop of the slip stitch. So that's your first part of the single crochet, and then into the next stitch, yarn over, and then pull through all of those loops. And then we're going to start working a single crochet into the back loop of each stitch around, and we're going to stop just when we get to the seam. Okay, we can see we're at the seam here, so we're now going to single crochet 2 together in the back loops. So then yarn over and pull through all 3 there, and then continue around with single crochet in each stitch. I should have mentioned you can pop a stitch marker into that first slip stitch and then move that up each round if you have trouble remembering where the beginning of the round is. I'm so used to doing this that I forget to use them. Okay, so we're at the beginning of the next round, and we're going to do single crochet 2 together again. and then carry on single crochet into the back loop only around to the next seam. And again, when we get to these center stitches along that seam here, we're going to single crochet 2 together. Like so, and then finish that round off with a single crochet in the remaining stitches. And then for the final round, we'll just put a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch around and join with a slip stitch to that first stitch and then fasten off. Now it will look like you've got a bit of a jump here where it's been fastened off, but once you sew this end in, it's going to pull that down and it'll look a lot more seamless. Okay, next we're going to work the cuff. It's going to be very similar to how we did the thumb. So find the seam, I'm going to join in here with a slip stitch. And then I'm going to start by putting a single crochet into each stitch around. And working over my tail as I go. You can pop, go ahead and pop a stitch marker in that slip stitch, just so you know where the beginning of the round is. So we're back to the beginning now. You can see here's the slip stitch where I started, and again we're going to be working in a spiral. So my single crochet is going to go into the back loop only of this slip stitch, like so, and then a single crochet into the back loop of every stitch around. So here we are at the end of the round again, and we're now simply going to repeat this round 5 more times. And then you can fasten off and go ahead and weave in your ends. And for a professional touch, you can add a cute little label to your gloves. These are great, especially if you're giving them as gifts. I got mine from Etsy. You can find these type of things on Etsy and on Amazon. And if you like this video, then be sure to check out my crochet gloves playlist right here on YouTube. Bye bye now.